day when he did that. So you might just keep in mind to be careful that you don't over sanitize what you're doing, and and do that. So I will get now to the serious part of it. And one of the things that I want to just share with you today and for you to think about is that the last 50 years have been nothing more than a warm-up. And one of the things that I do is I collect signs. We used to go to Colorado skiing every year, and we would go by this Indian Hills community, and they always had the best signs. And so I just want to begin by just showing the creativity that some people have and what they do and how they can do some funny things in a very, very cool way that just is encouragement to us as Kiwanis to never ever lose our creativity, never ever lose our enthusiasm, and never ever lose some of those little simple things that can be really, really creative and really quite fun. And every time we go by this place, there's always something just really kind of funny that causes you to laugh. And for the last 50 years, your creativity and the things that you've been doing as a club have just really encouraged people to keep their sense of humor, for you to enjoy each other, which you've been doing this morning, and to understand that it's just kind of cool when you don't ever get to the point where you're just doing the same old, thinking the same way you think, and doing some of the same things in what we do and in how we do it. They put a different sign out every week, and it's just really kind of fun to see some of the things that they do and how they do it in whatever the season is, or in whatever that they're doing. So I just wanted to begin by just encouraging you, don't lose your creativity. Don't be a person that just does the same old, but also be the club that just for the last 50 years realizes that there's been these little moments of fun, these little moments of celebration that you and I can really enjoy, which brings us now to here, which is 50 years. I mean, that is really cool. It's 50 years of service that you've given the Marshalltown area and the Nebraska-Iowa district. It's 50 years of fellowship where you have encouraged and grown and developed lifelong friendships that you'll just never, ever devalue. It's been 50 years of fun. It's been 50 years of food. It's been 50 years of a failure here and there where you've tried things and they haven't gone just the way you thought they would go or the way that you planned. It's 50 years of developing these tight, close relationships and fellowship with people. It's 50 years of memories. And as I was thinking about it, it's also 50 years, which is 2,600 meetings. It's 2,600 pledges to the flag. It's 2,600 prayers. And it's been 2,600 programs, give or take a few. But what I want to encourage you today and for you to think about today is the last 50 years have been nothing more than a warm-up. It's a warming you up for the future. It's warming you up so that you and I, as Kiwanis, can move forward. Now, I'm not asking you to take big leaps. I'm just asking you to take baby steps. I'm also encouraging you today to get out of the box and to start thinking a little different and to take that leap into the next 50 years, because a saying that's been around forever is something that I totally believe: the best is yet to come. My wife, Barb, said to me last night, she said, Steve, will you love me when my hair turns gray? I said, well, I don't know why not. I've loved you through 40 other colors. But anyway, the whole point is that you and I have never reached our potential as a club, as a person. And if we ever get to the point where we're thinking it's going to get better, we're probably going to start dying. And there's a lot of people today, there's a lot of clubs today, there's a lot of organizations today that believe the best years are in the past. There is no motivation for that. There is no encouragement in that. I'm not very old, but I'm 68 years old. But guess what? I can't do some of the things I could do in my 40s. I don't care. I don't need to do the things that I was in my 40s. And if I get to the point where, even though I might not feel the same way I feel, even though I might not be able to do what I've been able to do, if I still don't believe that tomorrow can offer something even better than today, I'm going to start losing that motivation. I'm going to start losing that spark. And I want to suggest to your club that the last 50 years have been nothing more than a warm-up, understanding the best is yet to come. And there's 6 keys if you and I are going to move forward. Now, I'm going to make a little disclaimer right here. Every time I speak, I try to make the presentation as personal as I can. So I visited your Facebook page to illustrate my points, and I don't know if it's current members, past members. I don't know anything about it, but hopefully I have all of your club, not any of the other Marshalltown clubs, but I just want you to know, I don't know the people that are in here or the status of the people. So I wanted to make it personal, and here we go. The first key is the needs of people are going to become more important to identify. This virus has encouraged us to do some things that we've never thought we could do. It has forced us to do some things that we didn't want to do, but it's also going to present to us needs that we have never, ever thought of before. And I want to encourage us that the needs of people are going to become way more important to identify in my mind, and they're going to be more important to fund. We are going to have to look at fundraising a little differently. We're going to have to look at fundraising as more as of doing some things that maybe we haven't done. And so I noticed that you have a funnel cake trailer. And I'm assuming that you've made a bunch of funnel cakes over the last 50 years. But the point is this: what does a funnel cake find? And what does a funnel cake, I mean, what is it? And when you start and look at it a little differently, those funnel cakes are nothing more than finding unmet needs that are needing extra lift. And when you start thinking about finding unmet needs, needing an extra lift, that funnel cake becomes something way more important than something that is, oh, I got to go do this, or we need to get volunteers to do that. It's something way more important than that, because you're finding unmet needs that are needing an extra lift by raising money to meet those needs. And I want to suggest to you that the last 50 years has been an opportunity for you and I to identify the needs of people. But that's going to become more important to identify and more important to fund. The key, our service will always be needed. Every one of you on this screen and every person in your club is needed. Nobody can say, I'm not important. Nobody can say, I'm not needed. Nobody can say, I have nothing to give. None of us. And the key is the service that you've given the last 50 years will become more important and will always be needed. I use this off and on, but I use it because it makes me laugh and I love it. But how many of you know that a dog is truly a man's best friend? And if you don't believe this, I want you to try this experiment. Put your dog and your wife in the trunk of a car for an hour. And when you open the trunk, who is really happy to see you? Now, that's kind of a dumb thing, ladies. If it said a dog is truly a man's or a woman's best friend, I could use it that way. But if we're not careful, what we're going to do in the next 50 years is we're just going to look like the last 50 years. And we're going to do things the way we've done them in the last 50 years. And so the point is, the seeds of greatness will become more necessary to plant in our youth. We're going to have to do some things differently with our kids. My wife is the director of a preschool. They have not been in session for 2 months, like all the school systems. We have kids in college, we have grandkids in college, we have kids in high school. We have 3 seniors this year. 2 of them are twins. They just graduated from Linn-Mar in Marion. They had 650 people in their class. And what they did as a school is they did graduation services in segments of 5. And so 125 times on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the superintendent, the principal, the school board chair, everybody went through the same thing 125 times a day to help those kids have some semblance of a graduation. When those kids come back, when Key Club comes back, when Builders come back, there's going to be some seeds of greatness that you and I as adults need to plant in those kids. It's going to be very important. And it's necessary to model in our lives. I'm amazed at the number of kids today with low self-esteem. I'm amazed at the number of times I still hear I can't. And sometimes, Kiwanis, it's nothing more than you and I being with those kids and just encouraging them and sharing with them, yeah, life is not easy, life is not fair, but you can be awesome, and planting that seed of greatness in their minds. It's so important. What's the key? Our influence will only become more necessary. And I want to remind us that going forward in the next 50 years, the influence of Kiwanis and the influence of community-minded people and the influence of people that care about people and love people and want people to succeed, that is going to be very important to be investing not only in each other's lives, but in the lives of the youth that we influence, that give us a real purpose in the morning to get up and to serve others. I want us to be successful. And I have people all the time saying to me, how do you define success? Well, I'm a little farm boy from Humboldt, Iowa. It's pretty easy. At age 4, it's not peeing in your pants. At age 12, it's having friends. At 16, it's having a driver's license. Age 20, it's believing you are sexy. At age 35, it's having money. 50, it's having money. 60, it's believing you are sexy. At age 70, it's having a driver's license. Age 75, it's having friends. And 80, it's not peeing in your pants. So keep that in mind as you try to define success and what that means. The next is the weeds of doubt will become more of a challenge if we let them grow. We live in a really unique time. Never in my lifetime would I have ever experienced or thought I would experience what we have experienced. For people that went through the Depression, they understand this kind of stuff. The seeds of doubt or the weeds of doubt are going to just, they are going to grow if we're not careful. 95% of what you see, hear, and read every day is negative. And we live in a time where the weeds of doubt are going to absolutely flourish if we let them grow. And we also need to understand that going forward, the weeds of doubt will be more of an obstacle if we don't let them go. It's that stinking thinking. It's that thinking that says, we're done, or it's that stinking thinking that says we can't we can't grow. I'm amazed, my friends, at how our beliefs affect what we do. I'm certainly no master leader or have all the answers, but I'm going to tell you, I worked as hard as I could in 2005-06 when you do have a little influence. Now you're out in the pasture and doing whatever you're asked to do. But I'm amazed. I just am amazed. We could turn this organization around if we would just think differently. Our beliefs determine our actions. There is no magic to this. And if you believe something, that's what you're going to become. And so the weeds of doubt are going to just filter in right now, especially if you and I haven't learned the past 50 years how to weed out those words like fear, doubt, and those words that are keeping us from reaching our potential so that we can move forward. And the key for the next 50 years is our positivism will help keep us out of the weeds. It is so important. Man read a newspaper ad that said 7-day cruise for $14.95. Went down to the travel agency, said, I see that you're offering a 7-day cruise for $14.95. There's got to be a mistake. Travel agent said, no, there's no mistake. We're offering a 7-day cruise for $14.95. So we went down to the travel agency, wrote out a check for $14.95, handed it to the travel agent. Travel agent took out a hammer, hit him in the head, woke up the next day tied to a log floating down the river. He was mad, he was embarrassed, he was foolish, he thought, how dumb could I be? But here he is, tied to a log floating down the river. The next day decided to enjoy it, so he started looking at the scenery, had a wonderful time. In fact, he had the time of his life. He woke up bright and early the next morning, floating down the river, was having a wonderful time, when he floated up alongside another log with a man tied to it, and they started talking. He said, I wonder if they serve refreshments on this cruise. Guy said they didn't last year. And if you and I are not careful, the weeds of doubt of last year are going to be the weeds that drowned us out this year. And the key is our positivism will help us keep out the weeds. For an hour every week, Kiwanis is sometimes the only positive environment people can experience. Work is tough. People have challenges. Just what we've been going through the last 3 months. I mean, I've watched speaking commitments just disappear. Does that make it easy to be positive at times? No, it doesn't. But I'm not going to be of value if I get negative. And it's important that you and I as Kiwanians stay positive and model that positivism to others. The leads of opportunities will become more opportunities to change. The bottom line is this: when you're through changing, you're through. The coronavirus has caused us to change. It has forced us to change. Some of those changes, I think, are going to be really, really good. And they're going to help us even be more effective. But the bottom line is the opportunities will become opportunities to change and opportunities to thrive. Our Kiwanis Club found out that the come and go stores, after a sandwich is on the shelf for so long, they can't sell it. That's true of Casey's, Come and Go, Quick Trip, all of them. Anyway, we worked out a plan with them that we would take all of those sandwiches, pick them up, and share them with people because they were still good sandwiches. We've been able to take the food that was discarded and thrown in the trash and use it to bless people. That lead came from just a conversation with one of our members having a conversation with a store associate who was dumping sandwich after sandwich away. And my point is the leads of opportunity are going to become opportunities for us to not only change in what we do, but it's going to be opportunities to thrive because it is of no cost to us except some time, but it is great value to the people that are hungry. And whether we like it or not, we've got lots of hungry people in all of the communities that we represent. The key, our ears must always be to the ground listening for leads. And as we work forward and as we move forward in the next 50 years, it's going to be very important that we're listening more to the community, to the needs, to those kids, and our ears are always open for leads of how we can do or what we can do in meeting the needs of people. We have several ladies on the screen. How many of you know that men need supervision? And the answer is you probably all do, because we men at times do some things that are pretty crazy and might be labeled pretty stupid at times, but we just need supervision. We need somebody to remind us that you can do some things, and some things probably aren't the wisest thing to do, but we all need that. And as we move forward, as we're listening and as we're watching, we're going to find those needs that we can meet and those needs that are going to make a difference in what we do and in how we do it. And by the way, this person that did that got a traffic ticket from the state trooper. The beads of friendship will become even greater. And before I got my slides mixed up here a little bit, so I got to give you a couple more stupid things us men do and what we do and how we do it. So not only do us men need supervision, but everybody does. The beads of friendship will become more valuable to us in many different ways. I will probably always give Milford the berries, telling him that I was his best lieutenant governor, when in reality, that's not even close to being a fact. But the bottom line is, I would have never met the Hannahs had I not been in Kiwanis. I would have never met you or you that I've met had it not been in Kiwanis. I'm going to tell you, friendship is very important to me. And the friends that I've made in Des Moines, Iowa would have never happened had it not been from Kiwanis. And so the beads of friendship are going to become even more valuable to us. And they're going to be more valuable in finding purpose as we travel throughout the day. You know, a friend walks in, a true friend walks in when everybody else walks out. Friendship is one of those things that you've got to work at. Takes effort, takes time, it takes investment. We have two other couples that we run around with here in the Des Moines area. We call ourselves the Six Pack, and we're together a lot. But I want to tell you, there's been times we've gone through kid issues with each other. There have been times we've gone through job issues with each other. They have been this incredible encouragement to me right now, going through a time where there's just no speaking opportunities, and that's not going to change. I mean, we can't have it. And that value in the friendship helps you and I find purpose. And that is one of the byproducts of Kiwanis, is developing those friends. One of the motivations for me to invite people to join our club is the friendship factor. It is the service factor. It is making a difference in the lives of others. It is all of the things that we do in Kiwanis. But one of the priorities for me inviting people to join our club is the friendships. Developing friendships that are meaningful, developing friendships that help you through the tough times and celebrate with you during the good times. And so the key is the friendships we develop with other members are priceless. And one more thought. The deeds of members will become the reason we will succeed. I don't know if this check represents the funnel cake fundraiser or what you did to raise the $500, but I'm going to tell you, my friends, that deed of your members in this club is the reason we succeed. The more you give, the more you live. Yes, Kiwanis meetings. Yes, it's dues. Yes, it's yes. It's all of that. But the bottom line is our deeds is what makes us unique. And that's the reason we will succeed. And that is the legacy that we will leave. I can't imagine what you did for the people at the Veterans Home when you did what you did here. And those deeds are the legacy that we leave. And those deeds are the things that people are going to remember. They're not going to remember a lot of stuff, but boy, I'm going to tell you, they're going to remember how you made them feel. And they're going to remember what you did for them. And the key is this: your deeds will always make a difference, and they will never, ever go unnoticed. So as we celebrate 50 years, from my perspective, the last 50 years have been nothing more than a warm-up. A warm-up to move forward. And as you and I move forward, needs will be met, seeds will be planted, weeds will be eliminated, and it's not the weeds that you see here, it's the weeds of doubt and negativism and disbelief and some of those weeds that choke out the beauty of life. Leads will become opportunities. Beads of friendship will bind us together. And the deeds of every one of you on this screen will continue to make the difference. And it leads me to just say this, but just imagine what's going to happen during the next 50 years because of you. I'm honored to be asked to be a part of this today. I'm grateful for what you do. And I want to just encourage you and remind you that the work of Kiwanis is valuable and it's worth our time. And it's so important that you and I understand the bigger picture. And if we will take some simple little thoughts, the last 50 years have been nothing more than a warm-up, and the next 50 years are going to be awesome. I'll be available for your 100th if you ask me. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Steve. That was an awesome presentation. Aside from my own 5 years ago, I think yours was the best. So thank you for that. But thank you. I really appreciate that and what it means for all of us to be part of this organization. So I'd say a big round of applause if everyone wants